Hi there. Today on the channel, I wanted to go over some of the statistics that ADHD sufferers have to deal with or get to look forward to in their lifetime. So if you know or you are someone with ADHD, listen briefly while I go through some of these statistics and tell me what you think down in the comments below. Starting right off the bat, let's get to death. Those who have ADHD, unfortunately, are 3 times more likely to die before they turn 45 years old. Think of that for a second. 3 times. When we say 3 times, that means 300% before the age of 45 than a normal person. You tell me that's not a major problem. That's not a major cause of why ADHD shouldn't be just kind of swept under the rug or kind of forgotten about. That is some serious business. Fact 2, kids who have been diagnosed with ADHD were 50% more likely to have behavior problems reported in school. Considering that ADHD is one of the most studied mental issues in our society, I am more than confident to say ADHD caused the behavior issues. 3, 90% of kids that get diagnosed do get some sort of school support. That's actually really encouraging. That means that our schools have decided to step up to the plate and try to tackle this. This does not guarantee that they're getting accommodations, any sort of assistance at home. Brothers, sisters, parents, grandparents, their church, baseball team, whatever it is. That doesn't mean that those organizations or individuals are supporting them. They may be doing the exact opposite. 4, of all kids, it is estimated that roughly 5% have ADHD. 5%. That's 1 in every 20 kids. So for you teachers out there, you can expect 1 to 2 people in your classroom to have ADHD. Now imagine being that kid for a second, 1 per class. Do you remember one person that always stood out to you? Maybe they were the class clown, maybe they couldn't sit still, or were always getting in trouble for not paying attention. Whether or not they were diagnosed or anyone had any sort of idea that that was ADHD back then. But I'm sure everyone can remember at least one person in their class. I'm sure you all have memories of that, or you were that kid. If you looked around the room and you found you can't remember anybody, maybe you were the person that everyone looked at and said, that kid's kind of funny. He's not always paying attention, getting in trouble a lot. Well, I was that kid. You're a kid, you don't know. You get runny nose and a cough. You know you got something wrong with you. Because you can't sit still, you got to move around a bit more, or you're daydreaming half the time. You don't know if these other kids are daydreaming. You assume that you're normal. You have no reason to doubt it otherwise. Then you think, okay, why am I getting singled out a lot by the teacher? Why am I getting picked on? Why is this becoming a thing? Why am I always getting painted as this undesirable? Not wanting to have me in their group, like especially if it's a group project or something. Why am I not valued? And think about that year after year after year with different teachers, different students. And no matter what, you're always that person. You're always the one that people are saying, I don't really want to work with them because they're too distracting, or they don't get their work done, or they're not going to take it very seriously, or they're not going to want a good grade. I mean, I understand it from their point of view, but from the kid who was that, you are building a self-fulfilling prophecy. So not only do you have the ADHD issues, but you also have a stigma around your neck. And the more people know you over the years, the stronger that stigma is going to be. Even if you do turn it around, that stigma is still going to be there. That is a very hard thing to break away from. And honestly, faculty, it is your responsibility to help ensure that kind of stuff doesn't happen. 5, even though there's 5% of kids that are estimated to have ADHD, Adults, it's estimated at roughly 2.5%. There's been some arguing going back and forth on this. What is causing this drop-off? Why is it from 5% of the population down to 2.5%? Does ADHD magically disappear? Some people say that as you grow older, the hormones and puberty and all that, as that all fades away, the brain settles into a better way of regulating itself. I'm going to plant my feet firmly here and say that ADHD doesn't magically fade away when you become an adult. It's not that it fades away, it's that these people are getting better at hiding it or making their own adaptations for it. Or because of generational issues, when I was a kid, ADHD wasn't really looked at or thought of as much. Thereby meaning a lot of adults are not going to be diagnosed. Plus, also think when you're an adult, you get to pick your profession, hopefully. And if you have ADHD, you're probably going to pick jobs that are a bit more on the exciting side of things. Fun fact, police and firefighters and other professions that require a lot of quick thinking, large boosts of adrenaline, so on and so on, they have a very disproportionate share of ADHD within their ranks. Meaning their brain is so deficient in this chemical dopamine that it is actively pushing for them to choose careers that will allow them to get a normal level of dopamine due to the increased stress and excitement of the job, that they finally feel normal, what a normal person feels. That will be it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Give a like and subscribe if you'd like to see more of this stuff down the road. Thanks.